Alright, let's give Friday's Daily Puzzle on chess.com a shot. This one's called Royal Rewind. It's black to move. Give the video a pause and try it yourself if you like it. Alright, so I've got discovered attack with my queen if I move my rook anywhere. I also have back rank threats to be worried about. I guess my bishop can block. Definitely take this pawn. And the king would be forced here. I kind of feel like I don't want to let the king get back here. Is there a way for me to avoid that? I don't really feel like there is. Other than this. The king would have to take that. But I don't think I have enough pieces after that. I think I need my rook in. Alright, like here. If I could force the king down, maybe. If I could... But I can't. I think the best I can do is go here, and then the king can still go backwards. I don't think I want the king going back. I gotta get my pawns involved, it feels like to me. Royal Rewind. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm seeing anything really cool here. I just feel like once the king gets here, I don't see anything. Because the rook, like all these squares being covered makes my life pretty hard. All of these pawns being connected is also like pretty annoying to my cause. It feels like the king being on light squares renders this bishop slightly useless as well. Like this bishop is holding these squares. I don't really feel like the bishop is going to do anything else. Like, I could be wrong. So I guess if the king goes here, you can always force it back with this move. No, because the king can go here. Alright? And I have this. Yeah, that doesn't work. So maybe that's why it would be this. Because then I hold this square. So if I give this check, the king has to go here. Alright, so maybe that's a little forcing. So here, and then the king has to go back to where it was. I think, right? I think I have every other square covered. I don't think anything's protecting. Nothing can block. I have all these. And my rook's going to have this one. So the king is going to have to come back to where it was. So here. Is this where the rewind comes into play? I'm not seeing it yet, but this feels like the most interesting thing I've thought of yet. Check. And the king has to go here because its only other move is to go here, and then this would be checkmate. So here, forcing the king back. What have I accomplished there? I've gotten rid of one pawn, and I've gotten my rook out of the way. But it does kind of feel like I either have to go here or here. And I don't know what I've accomplished. So what would be the point of that? So it's here. So now the king is on the same square, and my rook and queen are just on these squares. So is this position beneficial to me at all? It still feels like the king just has this square to hide on it, and I don't know what to do about it. Oh, I can sacrifice the rook, maybe. Wait, is that what it is? Because if the pawn takes, and this is checkmate. Is that it? Wait a second. Alright. So here. And I'm thinking sack the rook. Yep. I think that works. Because the king only has one move. It's here. And then I bring my queen in, and that's checkmate because my bishop has this square. And the king has nowhere else to move. And if the pawn takes, then this is checkmate. That's wild. Okay, this is a puzzle that I feel like I typically wouldn't get. This is a weird pattern. This is not something I'm used to finding. I'm pretty happy. I think this is it. So this move forces this. Then I have this check, which forces the king back. And honestly, this position doesn't look great to me. It doesn't look like I've accomplished very much, so I just would never really think to try to do something like this. But the point is that now I can check with the rook with my queen kind of backing it up. And, oh, the pawn has to take. Yeah. Okay, the pawn absolutely has to take. I was thinking the king had this square, but the pawn is there. So the pawn has to take, and then this is checkmate. I just hop my queen right there. All right, I'll show you all what that's all about right now. So here forces this. Check here forces the king back, and then I go here, and the king's trapped, and the king can't take the rook, so the pawn has to take. But then this is checkmate because the pawns have the king boxed in, and my queen's going to take away the rest of the squares. Sweet little mate. Sweet little mate dog. All right, let's run that back one time. All right, stared at this one for a while and really couldn't figure out what was going on. I can tell that anywhere that I move my rook, it's going to be a discovered attack on the king. And one of the first things I thought of is that I can just take this pawn, but I didn't see why that was valuable at all. And then finally, after thinking about a lot of other moves, I returned to this move and realized that if I go here, the king is absolutely forced to go here because my queen is checking and the king doesn't have any other moves. And then I can give this check. And then the king has to go back because my bishop has these squares, my queen has these, and then my rook is going to have this one. So it's here, discover check, king has to go there, queen here, king has to go back. And then I was looking at this position for a minute, and I was like, why would I even want this to happen? It felt forcing, which felt cool, but I didn't see why it was good. And then I finally realized that there's a rook sacrifice here. And the pawn absolutely has to take that because the king can't move at all. But once the pawn takes, the king is now trapped by its own pawns, and this is a checkmate because my queen takes away all these squares, checking the king. And dude, the king can't move, and that's a checkmate, dog. There it is. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.